I hired 2 appraisers to do 2 separate appraisals on the same property. And I wanted to see 2 things. 1, what value did each appraiser have on the property? And 2, how did the final sale price compare to each of their values? That's the subject of today's video, and we're going to get started right now. Hi, my name is David Matney with Nebraska Realty. I'm a local realtor here in Omaha, Nebraska. Now let's jump into today's topic. When you buy a home, and if you're getting a loan, one of the requirements the lender is going to require is an appraisal. The lender wants to protect their investment. The lender doesn't want to give you a loan for $300,000 if the home is only worth $200,000. The lender is going to order an appraisal from a neutral third party to get a professional opinion of value. The buyer pays for the appraisal, and the appraisal actually belongs to the lender. Keep in mind, an appraisal is an opinion of value. Let's take a look at a couple of definitions. The first definition is market value. Market value is defined as the most probable price that a property would bring in an arm's length transaction under normal conditions on the open market. Assessed value is different. Assessed value is the value set on a property for tax purposes. Assessed value does not equal market value. What about appraised value? Appraised value is defined as the value as determined by a professional appraiser after thorough inspection and analysis. The appraisal typically considers various factors, such as the asset's condition, any improvements made to the property, the value of comparable properties nearby, and current market conditions. It's worth noting that while appraisals provide an objective valuation based on data and expert judgment, the actual market price of a property could be higher or lower depending on market dynamics and the motivations of the buyer and seller. Okay, what does that mean? For example, if a buyer absolutely falls in love with the property and they have to have that property, then the market price could be $50,000 over the appraised value. Now, for this experiment, I used a home that was a cash sale. And here's why. When a buyer is getting a loan on a property, the appraiser gets a copy of the contract. I was the one ordering the appraisal and paying for the appraisal, and the appraisal report belongs to me, and I did not want to provide the appraiser with the contract price. Now, here's a little bit about the home. The home needed a lot of work. In fact, the condition was so poor that it could only be a cash sale. When a home is a cash sale, the appraisal is not required. However, if a buyer wanted to do an appraisal on a cash deal, they certainly could. I wanted to conduct this experiment on a home that was under contract, and the appraiser was not going to get a copy of the contract. Of course, I had permission from the seller, and I hired 2 appraisers from 2 very reputable firms. I spoke with the buyer's agent, and I let her know what I was doing because I didn't want the appraisers to contact her and for her to give out the contract price to the appraisers. What I was trying to do was I didn't want the contract price to influence their opinion of value. Appraisals are not cheap. Appraisers put in a lot of time, effort, and energy to do an appraisal. They look at the home, the local market, and they give their best professional opinion of value. Anytime you talk about the market and value, it's a snapshot in time. And there's one certainty in real estate, and that is the market is always changing. And this can be tough on a seller because you'll see your neighbor's home sell 6 months ago, and let's say they got 10 offers and it sold for $20,000 over list price. And then when you put your home on the market 6 months later, you might be expecting the same market. And the market has changing, and the market is always changing. And here's another thing about selling your home. Some updates do not add value. Buyers do not care what you have put into your home. The home is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Let's say you have a home with hardwood floors and you cover those floors with carpet and you spend $10,000 on that new carpet. However, the minute those buyers buy your home, they plan on ripping out that carpet and refinishing the hardwood floors. Then that upgrade with $10,000 worth of carpet has no value to that particular buyer. Now, this home was in very rough condition. It was a rental property that had gone south. I know many people out there might think that they have the impression that owning rental property is simple and it seems easy on HGTV and on late night infomercials, but not all rental properties work out. Being a landlord is tough. It takes a lot of work and it's much more involved than what people think. Now, it's a great way to build wealth, but it's like anything else. You have to educate yourself. I believe in investing in real estate. I started out as an investor, then I got my real estate license, and I believe real estate investing is a great way to build wealth over time. But it's like anything else. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Again, this property was not available for financing because of the condition. It was a cash sale only. Now, when you're doing a cash sale only, the pool of buyers is limited. And the likely buyer is going to be an investor or a contractor who A, has cash, and B, who is willing to do the work. Now, this home is not your typical, hey, let's put in new carpet and paint type of remodel. This was a home in a great location. However, it needed a lot of work. It needed a new furnace and AC, a new hot water heater, a new driveway, new electrical panel. It had mold and active water in the basement, so it needed mold remediation. It needed new kitchen, new baths, new flooring, new windows, new deck, new siding or new exterior paint. And like I said, it had water in the basement and it had mold. But it had a new roof. Now, whenever you get into a project, there's always going to be something that's unknown. It'll be $20,000 that you didn't anticipate spending. And if you're an investor, the goal is to make money. You have to buy it right, otherwise the numbers don't work out. Now, the home was listed for $185,000. We had great activity and with lots of showings right out the gate. However, the feedback we were receiving from the agents that showed the property indicated that we were priced too high. And there's only one reason why a home doesn't sell, and it's the price. It's not the marketing. No amount of marketing can sell an overpriced home. It's not the location, because you can price to the location. And it's not the condition. You can price to the condition. Now, the seller reduced the price after 6 days to $169,500 because of what the market was telling us. Now, as a seller, it's important to listen to the market. The other little snafu that occurred with this property was raccoons. On one of the showings, someone spotted a raccoon in the ceiling in the basement. So for safety reasons, we had to postpone showings and had to contact Critter Control in order to remove the raccoons. What's really amazing is that people love these types of homes in this type of condition. However, again, you have to be careful and you got to buy it right. You got to be careful also not to over improve the property. It all boils down to math. Now, the home went under contract and then I ordered the 2 appraisals. Keep in mind, the appraisers know that the home is under contract, but they didn't get a copy of the contract. Again, an appraisal report is about 30 pages long. They go into great detail about the property. And if you like to nerd out on real estate, you look at this stuff on a Friday night. And this is really important to note, and that is an appraisal is not an end-all be-all. It's 30 pages long, it's very detailed, but you got to look through the report. And in this case, one note said that the appraisal had extraordinary assumptions. And that is, these are items such as the furnace, AC, and plumbing are assumed to be working or in working order. Now, if they're not, then the cost to cure should be subtracted from the appraised value. For example, if the furnace needed to be replaced, then you would subtract another $5,000 from the appraised value in the report. In looking over the appraisal report, another thing that I saw was that another item in the report was sex offenders, okay? And it said in the report that the scope of the work did not include research that is necessary to uncover information about the location of adverse conditions such as sex offenders. Now, if you're buying a home, you need to do your own research because something like that is not on the appraisal report. If your neighbor is a registered sex offender, that would be nice to know before you make an offer on a property. If you're interested in researching the Nebraska Sex Offender Registry, then you'd want to visit sor.nebraska.gov. What did each appraisal have for a value, and what was the final sales price? Now, I'm going to pause the video for just a moment, and just for fun, in the comment section below, put what you think the final sales price would be. All right, now if you got any value from this video, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Share this video with someone who might be buying a home or selling a home. What were the appraised values? The first appraisal came back at $170,000, and the second appraisal came back at $175,000. Now, what about the final sales price? The seller received a total of 5 offers, and the final sales price was $140,000. The sales price was off. However, if you look at the furnace, even from just the photos, you can see that even if the furnace did work, you can see that it's near the end of its useful life and will need to be replaced. I hope the buyer will let me do a follow-up video with after photos because it'll be neat to see the project when it's all done. It's a really neat property. It's in District 66, which is a really desirable area, and it's going to make someone a really great home or a great investment property. And if you want to learn more about buying a home, be sure to watch this next video, and you make it a great day.